Iron Strength Harrison asks, do you believe that the combination of karate training and you being drawn towards the spiritual disciplines primed you for the Kundalini experience you describe in Notes from a Factory Floor? And was this a calling from your inner God, a spiritual intuition?
That's a great question, and it's very intuitive. Yeah, that's all true. What I've learned about the Kundalini experience, and I've had several, all of differing intensities, is that all you can do is prepare the ground for them. You can't make them happen. They are happy accidents. They tend to happen. They tend to come as a grace, as a gift, and sometimes the expansion is euphoric, and you feel one with everything, and other times they are extremely painful. The last one I had lasted 6 months, the effects of it, and it burnt me to the ground. I was absolutely razed to the ground, but it burnt out all the final bits of ego and all the final bits of negative karma that I was carrying. So I never deliberately tried to trigger Kundalini, because you never know how it's going to take you. You never know whether it's going to create a euphoric year or a psychotic 6 months, so it's not something I ever trigger. I remember talking about it flippantly one day to my friend Geoff, who is an adept, and he said to me, "Jeffrey, do not be in a hurry to trigger Kundalini." And it was like a warning. Nobody ever called me Jeffrey except for my oldest brother and my mum when I was in trouble. When he said it, I felt God speaking through him, and it made me very aware, because he'd had the Kundalini, and it took him to some dark places before he found his balance. This is a friend of mine called Geoff. So everything I've done prepared the ground for it, but you don't earn Kundalini. It's just a gift. It's a grace. If it comes, it comes, and whether it comes, in the form of spirit or whether it comes in the form of fire, it doesn't really matter. They both do the same thing. But even if it rushes through you and it's euphoric, it's going to pick up any piece of detritus, any piece of karma, any piece of negativity that's still in you. That's why it can be very, very painful if you don't at least try to prepare the ground. So my whole life has been about preparing the ground. But I would say to people that are listening to this, that doesn't guarantee anything. The mystic Richard Rose talks about the fact that all spiritual happenings are gifts, happy accidents. We don't earn them, they just come. But that doesn't mean we don't do the work. We do the preparation. We do everything we can. But yeah, it was absolutely a calling from my inner deity to say to me, it's time to transcend. It's time for anointment.
Wayne Poulter asks, like what we did with the physical training, we went straight to essence. How could we go straight to essence with the internal and spiritual?
Oh, hi Wayne, it's good to speak to you through the camera. For any people that don't know, Wayne trained with me, and I would say he was the best puncher I ever worked with. We worked together on the pads. I used to hold the pads for Wayne, and he's not just a beautiful man, but a beautiful puncher. And we always went to the essence. And we would absolutely, when me and Wayne were on the pads, we would go into the abstract. We would get such a beautiful rhythm that we would disappear the room. We'd go into the abstract, and when we come back, we brought things with us. I remember one occasion working with Wayne on the pads when we were in a room full of other people. People were playing badminton and all sorts of things in this room when we were teaching. And when we finished hitting the pads, everyone in the room had stopped to watch, and everyone broke into spontaneous applause. The world changed because we were hitting pads. Somebody said to one of my friends once, I remember telling you this, Wayne, tell Geoff Thompson he won't find God through a focus pad. I remember laughing like a drain, because I find God absolutely through a focus pad. I find the rhythm and the abstract through the sound, through the rhythm, through the connection. These two souls meeting, everything disappears. It's a fantastic experience. So the way to find essence in your life, Wayne, is to do what you did with the punch. You make it hench. You remove everything that's ostentatious. You remove everything that's superfluous. You start with your body. Take your clothes off, look in the mirror. If you're carrying 2 or 3 or 4 stone too much, then automatically you start to contract that. If you can remove the detritus, if you can remove the physical, psychological, spiritual detritus, the cognitive detritus, if you can remove the stuff that isn't functional, you will automatically find the essence. So it's what we've spoke about before. We start with the palate. The palate is where we cleanse the physical, gross body. We get the breath right, so we stop taking in negative air, cigarettes or any of that kind of thing. And we start doing qigong, so we cleanse the ethereal body. We expand the intellect and we expand the mind by being autodidacts, by studying the difficult texts. So that expands the mind and the intellect body. And then the causal body, we expand the causal body. The causal body is the one closest to the soul, and the causal body is often called the body of conscious will. In other words, that's where our autonomy is. We cleanse that by taking back all of the places that have been hijacked. So if we're watching pornography, if we're overeating, if we're over drinking, if we're opinionated, if we're judgmental, all of those things hijack the autonomy. They take the will away from us. So we have to win our will back. We have to own our causal body. That's the one that does the most damage, Wayne, because it's closest to the soul. So we have to win back our bodies. We have to win back our territories. We start immediately by, first of all, winning back the vital body, the immediate physical body. And I know we've had this conversation a lot of times, so we do it exactly the same with the punch. You look at a punch and think, okay, what is there in this punch that's not necessary? Let's just go straight from A to B. Let's get rid of anything ostentatious. We do exactly the same with our life. So we teach we teach the essence of our life by learning from the essence of our punch. And you're a master puncher, Wayne, so you'll know how to do that.
Adrian.laws.official asks, where do you feel you are being led? Is it more writing, plays or films?
Adrian, first of all, I just want to tell you how much I admire you and how much I love you. You're a very beautiful man. So I just wanted to say that first. I'm being led by God, as you know, Adrian. And I know where he's leading me today, but I don't know where he's leading me after that. At the moment, it is all about, for me specifically, as Saint Augustine would say, the pen is my spokesperson. So he's leading me through the writing. Sometimes that's film. At the moment, it's film and books and theatre. They're the most important places. But also talking. There's a great mystic who I love called Richard Rose. And he was able to do miracles, he was able to heal people, and I've had these experiences as well. And he said, I know that I'm here to talk. He said, and it takes a lot of energy, and it does with me. It takes a massive amount of energy for me to be able to talk. So I know that God wants me to talk, and he wants me to pass on the spirit or the paraclete through the talking. So I do that wherever I can, but sometimes the talking is through the mouth, and sometimes it's through the pen, but specifically writing, I would say.